In this video I wanted to play a game with you guys. I want to get to 1000 subscribers in order to reach monetization, and you want to become better DDD players. So I decided to make a quiz. I'll be asking you 10 DDD related questions. They will start off easy and get progressively harder. If you get any of them wrong, you have to subscribe to my channel. And if you somehow get all of them right, then you'll get a shoutout in the next video. After the quiz is done, let me know how many you got right. Let's start with the first question. Let's start off with an easy one. We have a Savant Copernicus on our field, Ragnarok in our scale, and Lamia in the graveyard. Can we use the effect of Lamia to send either of these cards to the graveyard to special summon it? I'll give you as much time to think about, but just don't Google it, so pause the video and the answer is in 3, 2, 1 and no, you cannot. This is because Lamia sends a DD or Dark Contract from a hand or field to the graveyard as cost, and Pendulum monsters cannot be sent to the graveyard because they would just go to the extra deck. You could send the Copernicus to the graveyard if it was in your hand, but you cannot do it from face up on the field. Moving on to the next question. For the second question we have DD Savant Thomas in our scale and DDD Divisor King Deuce Machinex in our extra deck face up. The question is, can we use Thomas to add back the Machinex into the extra deck face down? And the answer is in 3, 2, 1 and the answer is no, you cannot. If it was face up on the field, you could use something like normal summoned Kepler's effect to bounce it back to your hand, and then it would go into the extra deck, but the thing is you cannot add extra deck monsters to your hand, and therefore you cannot use the effect of Thomas to add back the Divisor King Machinex. Moving on to the next question. For this question we have two level 8 DD monsters and our opponent controls Mystic Mine with no monsters on the field. The question is, if we overlay these two into a Kali Yuga, can we use the effect of Kali Yuga to destroy our opponent's Mystic Mine, and if so, will it resolve successfully? And the answer is in 3, 2, 1. The answer to this question is yes, we can, because Kali Yuga's effect to negate all of the cards on the field does not activate, meaning that it will negate Mystic Mine, and then we can detach from it to destroy the Mystic Mine, and we can also attack directly. Moving on to the next question. For this question we have a Marksman King Tel with 1 material and our opponent has DDD Abyss King Gilgamesh. We already took 1000 damage this turn, and the question is, can we use the effect of Marksman King Tel to target our opponent's Gilgamesh and have it lose 1000 attack points? And the answer is in 3, 2, 1. The answer is no, because Marksman King Tel has to lower both attack and defense, and Link monsters only have attacks, so that's why you cannot use it on Gilgamesh. However, you can still use the effect on Marksman King Tel himself. Moving on to the next question. For this question we have DD Baphomet, DD Lamia, Abyss King Ragnarok in our scale, and a properly summoned Oracle King the Ark in the graveyard. If we use the effect of Lamia, sending the Baphomet to special summon it, and then use the effect of Ragnarok to bring back the Oracle King the Ark, do we at this point take 1000 damage or do we gain 1000 life points? And the answer is in 3, 2, 1. The answer to this question is that we take 1000 damage. This is because the effect of Ragnarok in the scale to revive and to take 1000 damage, and the effect that our opponent takes half the damage for the rest of the turn happens simultaneously. If the effect to take damage would happen after the summon of the Ark, we would gain 1000 life points. But because the Ark is a continuous effect, it has to be on the field in order for its effect to apply. And because the effect of Ragnarok happens simultaneously, the Ark is not on the field when we are supposed to take damage, so we still take 1000 damage. Moving on to the next question. This isn't a question but a bonus tip for you guys for sticking around for so long. Even if you use Gilgamesh effect to set Divine King 0 Rage into your scale, you would still take 1000 damage for the same reason, because the effect of Rage to take no damage is continuous, and the Gilgamesh effect to set the scales and take 1000 damage applies simultaneously. For realsies, now moving on to the next question. For this question we have Divine King Rage and we have Gilgamesh on our field, and we have a Kepler in our hand. We'll use the effect of Rage tributing the Gilgamesh to use this effect. Your opponent cannot activate card effects in their hand or graveyard. They have nothing on the field, and then after this effect has resolved successfully, we normal summon the Kepler. We try to use the effect of Kepler here, and the question is, can our opponent activate infinite impermanence from their hand to negate our Kepler? The answer is in 3, 2, 1, and the answer is no, and this is simply because Konami said so. Furthermore, if we go into battle phase, our opponent cannot activate evenly matched at the end of the battle phase, even though the card activates on the field and not in the hand. This is just the official ruling for Rage, so I don't know what to tell you, this is how the card works. Furthermore, even more confusingly, if we activate the effect to prevent our opponent from activating cards and the effects of cards in the spell and trap zone, our opponent can still use infinite impermanence and evenly matched on the same turn, and their effects will resolve normally. For this question we have the Arc on the field, Rage in the scale, and a Dark Contract with the Swamp King. The standby comes around and Dark Contract with the Swamp King activates here to burn us for 1000. The question is, will we take no damage at all, or will we heal for 1000, or will we take 1000 damage? Who knows? The answer is in 3, 2, 1, and the answer is we will heal for 1000 damage. This is because the effect of Oracle King the Arc applies over the Swamp King, so that our GoDDD never gets a chance to trigger its effect to make us take no damage, so we will just gain 1000 life points in the standby phase. Moving on to the next one. This question is a tad bit complicated, so I'll need you to pay really close attention to it. So we have Didi Griffin and the Arc in the graveyard, we have Rag in the scale, we have Didi Orthros in our hand, and a Monster Reborn. We'll use Monster Reborn here to bring back the Griffin. Then we will use Chainlink 1 Griffin in order to get a search, and Chainlink 2 Ragnarok to chain block the Griffin from getting Ash, bringing back the Arc. So we'll take 1000 damage here, and then we will resolve our search with the Griffin. The question here is, will we be able to special summon Orthros because we took 1000 damage? And the answer is in 3, 2, 1. The answer to this question is we will not be able to special summon Orthros because it's a when effect. So, if Ragnarok was Chainlink 1, the last thing that would have happened in the chain would be the effect damage that was inflicted to us, and we would have been able to special summon the Orthros. But because we chain blocked the Griffin from getting ashed, Orthros missed timing, so we are not able to special summon it. Moving on to the next question. For this question we have DDD Doom King Machinex and a bunch of contracts, and our opponent has DD Savant Thomas in their scale and a face-up DD in their extra deck. They'll use the effect of Thomas here to pick up the DD from the extra deck, and the question is, will we be able to use the effect of DD Devicer Machinex in order to attach Thomas to it as material? The answer is in 3, 2, 1, and the answer to this question is yes, we will be able to do it. Because Devicer says when a monster card activates its effect, and Thomas is, even though it is treated as a spell card currently, a monster card that activated its effects, so basically Deuce checks the original type. That would mean that even if our opponent had Vision Hero Increase that was treated as a trap card, we could also attach that when it attempts to use its effect. However, we would not be able to negate the effect of trap monsters such as the Anguish trap monster. Moving on to the final question. For this question we have the same board as before, and our opponent activates Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon from their hand into their scale. The final question is, will we be able to use the effect of Deus Machinex in order to attach it to it as material? The answer is in 3, 2, 1, yes. The answer is yes, and this is because even though it's activated as a spell card, there are spell cards that do nothing upon activation and it's still treated as activating a spell card effect. For instance, if you activate Toon World, you just pay 1000 life points to do nothing, and basically that's exactly the same thing as placing a Pendulum monster into the scale. So, because it's originally treated as a monster card, you can just attach it to Deus Machinex as material. If you got all of this right, I am so impressed, and if you didn't, well, hopefully you liked the video enough to subscribe to the channel. I'll hope you stick around for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!